writing already?
It's just my life. And the title of my book the title will be The Little Girl Inside of Me.
I like that title. You have to complete that. The easiest thing, and that goes for any writer in here. Yes, the little girl inside me. Yeah,
Yes.
because we are young people. We're the same people we are since we were about 7 years old. Just layers of life piled on top of all of us.
Yes.
And so, and I would say the easiest thing to do is to write and finish the story, because publishing it can be a bit tedious to a degree. But I encourage you to do that and finish that. You know?
I just don't know where to start.
You don't know where to start. Easier said than done. You challenge yourself to, easier said than done. Challenge yourself to carve out time and relax and let your thoughts come to you, because it's important that the little girl in you tell her story. That's the most important thing that's needed in this world, on this planet, because you'll be saving other little girls. You owe it to yourself to carve out the time to let that little girl speak her mind as soon as possible. Like you, and it's your personal journey.
Yes.
You don't owe anyone any explanation for carving out, let's say, from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. every day. I'm going to let this girl say her piece, because after a while, because what happened with me with this, it got to the point where the characters were writing themselves, and I was just happened to be to God be all the glory, the human being that was letting them tell their story on the paper.
Yes.
But there was nothing that I could do about it. I found myself rushing to get off work at that time to get home. I couldn't wait to see what else was going to happen. To finally, I wrote for a straight year, just writing. And finally the story finished itself. I remember exactly where I was. I was on my way to the Frederick Douglass Creative Arts Center. Those of you may know about Frederick Douglass back then. Yes, 270 West 96th Street, between Broadway and West End. Yeah, and I was on my way to Arthur Flowers, that author, his class. Remember Arthur Flowers back there, Clarence? Yeah, I studied with Arthur. Arthur was out of John Oliver Killen's workshop, and all of them was running together. Terry McMillan and all of them back in the day, like that. So I was trying to get with the best, striving to. So here we are, like that. So yes, so Trisha, please, because also being a writer, author, published or not writing, your characters, they have to be written. And they will drive you crazy. Susan Laurie Parks, who wrote Top Dog, Underdog, alluded to this, that her characters choke her. And I was watching the TV, I was like, how PBS is so, I was like, she's crazy, but no, my characters, they laugh at me, they beg me, write me, please, they will drive you crazy. You're gonna finish that piece. I'll make sure of that.
Thank you.
All right, any more? Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't help but notice how often the threat of untimely deaths and incapacity runs through a lot of the experiences that you've observed, and may have been quite endemic to the black community at that time, and is still existent today. Now, I think a lot of that has to do with the gross deficiency in vitamin D of a lot of people. I keep on making that point, but it's something that is so overlooked, and our public health people refuse to tell people how important it is, especially in winter months, to increase that level of your vitamin D level.
I'm glad that you brought up that point. That's an interesting point. And in terms of your point in reference to my novel here, the way that Al Carter's apartment, tenement apartment, is set up, I'm glad you brought that up, because the way it's designed in the story even. He doesn't get that much sunlight because at that time, on 117th Street at that time, and you can see remnants of it now, but they were just tenement buildings. So depending on the time of day, the way the sun is shining, and depending on how much time you're outside, is what, basically what you're saying. So, and that does play a part in the story, and maybe that could be also a New York thing or a location thing and everything, like, the deficiency of vitamin D in terms of the different cities even. Like you go down south, like maybe things are more spread out in the open, like in Florida, you might can get more of it, versus, exactly,
In
versus
northern climates, it's so much worse.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. That was a good point, yeah, and at that time, in the location of this story, that particular street, 117th Street between Lenox and 7th, which is known also as Adam Clayton Powell Boulevard, is 7th Avenue, right, and Lenox Avenue is also known as Malcolm X Boulevard. So anyway, there are big apartment buildings. You may know about Graham Court is right there, and other tall tenements. But now there's some nice private homes on 17th Street now. But still, at that time, yeah, again, depending on the time of day with the sun and everything. Can I get a time check, please?
7:16.
7:16. Okay, right. Because okay. I just wanted to get a time check. Is there any more questions about what? Sure. Tony, my director for Ronald Bastard. Yeah.
Ronald, when you sell the movie rights, the producer's going to come to you and say to you, who would you like to play your characters, your main characters? Who would you choose if you had your dream cast, even
right
established actors and their younger selves? Who would you choose to play the character that you talk about?
Tony. A question like that. Okay. Right now, and I'm pleased to, I know I should be seeing his older sister soon, maybe in a couple of days. But anyway, well, Evan Ross, he was the smallest, the baby of Diana Ross, and her marriage to on Ness. Anyway, Evan Ross, who was an actor, he would be my ideal Dwayne right now. Dwayne, and still, listen, Evan Ross versus Morgan Freeman. Okay, I'm a Morgan Freeman fan from Electric Company. And drive Miss Daisy. I want to play. I would like to do that with Meryl Streep. But that's another story. I'm here as an author tonight. Thank you all for coming out from that part. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, oh man. At one time I was after Sam Jackson's, and I had a meeting set up with his agent at one time, because again, Duppy is not only a novel, it's a screenplay and a stage play, and I wrote the novel and the screenplay simultaneously. And at that time, we're going back to circa 1995 and 96, I became involved with something that's known as the Independent Feature Project. And they sponsored a film festival every year. It was called the Independent Feature Film Market. And so the screenplay for Duppy got picked up for that. And I was at the Black Filmmaker, I was a member of the Black Filmmaker Foundation at that time. I joined the Independent Feature Project. And they had set up a meeting with Addison Westler Associates, and that was Sam Jackson's lawyers and stuff, because I was interested in him being Al Carter. Perhaps Sam Jackson as well, Evan Ross again. Duppy again is also a story. Duppy reproduces a story of intercultural racism. So there's a Jamaican family going on in here. They're introduced in chapter 2. And again, intercultural racism, when West Indian blacks and American blacks don't get along, Patrick Livingston and the Livingston family, their story is told in the story. How, again, in the synopsis, this is how Dwayne learns about Duppies out of Jamaica from his friend Patrick. You know, maybe one of Bob Marley's sons could play, Patrick. Then, there's so many more characters that are introduced, Tony, but bottom line, the two main, versus this one versus that one, Sam Jackson or Morgan Freeman versus Evan Ross. Okay? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Any other questions? Yes, Warren.
Right. Did you enjoy reading when you were growing up? And if so, who were your favorite authors? And who influenced you in writing this?
Thank you so much for that question. And the answer to that question, did I enjoy reading when I was young? The answer to that is yes. I was one of those kids who had the ability, I would be watching cartoons, and then I would shut off the cartoons and then lay up and read. Just lay up and read and everything. My favorite authors, at that time, I can't front, you know what I mean? I was a big fan of Judy Blume. And the reason why I was a fan of Judy Blume is because it's Stephanie from 449 LA Scat is here. Ashley is here. More fam. Anyway, Judy Blume was one of my favorite authors. At that time, one of her pieces was Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing. And at that time, I felt like I was a fifth grade nothing. Peter had a little brother named Fudge and everything, and he, but Judy Blume was one of my favorite authors. And then I got into the world of Walter Dean Myers, okay, who was and Walter Dean Myers had we doing okay on time? Yeah. Oh, okay, cool. Okay, cool. Walter Dean Myers had wrote a book called Fast Sam, Cool Clyde and Stuff that was based in Harlem. He wrote a lot about the Millbank stuff. Fast Sam, Cool Clyde and Stuff. And I was a major fan of Louise Fitzhugh, who wrote Harriet the Spy. As a matter of fact,
Love that book.
Harriet the Spy was the first real novel I read. It was a big old book. I think Harriet the Spy was 293 pages, but that was a lot for you in elementary. And
Read it twice.
even when they did the movie with Rosie O'Donnell as Old Golly, and she shouldn't have been, anyway, I was like, no, it was nothing like the book. But yes, Warren, I used to like to read a lot of books. Read a lot of the Disney stuff. Yeah, man. Yeah, I enjoyed reading books. And, what inspired... I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, the first part. What
Okay.
inspired you? What influenced you in your style of writing?
Okay. My biggest influences on my style of writing, I will say, is a combination between... For this particular piece, is a combination between Donald Goines, Richard Wright, and William Peter Blatty. Zora Neale Hurston also influenced me with this. Donald Goines for Street. If you're familiar with Donald Goines, some of you, yes, Horson Jones, Dope Fiend, Kenyatta's Revenge, Kenyatta's Last Escape, Crime Partners, Around the Way Hood stuff, right? Versus, I really needed my character to be like Bigger Thomas in a way. So of course, Native Son with Richard Wright. Like any of you who read Native Son,
Right.
if it happened to you like it happened to me, I remember when I finished, exactly where I finished Native Son, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, like that. And I was like, something like this that's published in 1940 can make me feel like this. Like, I need to write like that dude. So yeah, Richard Wright with Native Son. And of course, when it comes to William Peter Blatty and the Exorcist piece, many of us saw the movie, but there's nothing like reading the book. The book was much, it was multi-layered. It was not just about the girl being possessed. It was about the murder case of the detective that was investigating the mother and the daughter. It was about the daughter's relationship with her father even. It was about her relationship with her mother in terms of her mother being an actress and everything. And I love telling people about this one. The famous scene where her head spins around, that in the novel was her mother having a concussion. If you remember, she punched her mother in the face, and then when her head spun around, she was speaking in a British. She was speaking. That was the director of her mother, Burke Dennings. So it was so William Peter Blatty also influenced me. Zora Neale Hurston in terms of dialect, because I'm not Jamaican. Okay, when people see this, they go, "Oh yeah, you're Jamaican." I said, "Okay." Well, are you Jamaican? I said, when you come to the event, you'll learn. But yeah. The thing is, Zora Neale Hurston, the way she wrote "Their Eyes Were Watching God," and you had the adaptive rhythm of the southern dialect from Eatonville, Florida, and then after a while, and the way it's written is the way it sounds in your mind. So I said, I'm gonna write like that and so. I mean, sometimes some readers don't like that. They will want to form their own images, where some readers are appreciative of when you do that. I've had people tell me, like, wow, I feel like I can talk like I'm from Jamaica now. I'm like, because I read your book, and I'm like, get my ass kicked. Some shit like so Zora Neale Hurston as well. So did I answer the second part of your question, Mr. Weiss?
What do you think of Jimmy Baldwin?
Okay, so the James Baldwin. I'm a major fan of James Baldwin. I'm a bigger fan of Richard Wright a little more. But yeah, I'm a fan of James Baldwin. I've been running around like, yeah, I'm the James Baldwin of hip hop. I mean, so when it comes to this. But yeah, I'm a fan of Jimmy Baldwin, absolutely. I asked Clarence earlier, had he met James Baldwin? Has anyone in here met James Baldwin, by the way? Anyone? Oh, okay. Okay, it's all good. He's always with us, though. Always with us through his powerful literature that's still, and that you can find in this here bookstore. Make sure after this event, going forward, we must return to Sisters Uptown Bookstore for future events, as well as purchases of the fantastic books that you can see. You just inhale the literature in here, Yes. So,
Thank you.
Okay, you're very welcome. Any more questions? Because
I was going to say that if you didn't have any more questions, you have a lot of people here that I know I've seen these book signings. They're going to want to chat you up when you sign your book.
yeah.
Look, she's like, yes, I do.
Do we have 5 minutes for a 5-minute read?
5 minutes.
Okay, 5-minute read. Because the surprise is, okay, so I have one of my short stories that I want y'all to hear. Many people always ask, what time we have?
7:27.
Yeah, I gotta do this real fast, y'all. You may have seen the cover for Shorts. Shorts is going to be a book of short stories that will be ready to be purchased in spring of 2025. I do hope you come back to another signing with me, and of course I'm going to work with Jennifer and to have it done here for Shorts, which is a book of short stories. So let me see if I can get hold of the. Well, I have 2 of the short stories here. Okay, one of them is titled "The Guiding Light," and both of the short stories are true stories. They're nonfiction. So, by a round of applause, this is where y'all get to wake up now, and all of y'all that are busy texting and sexting, y'all have to participate in this part. Okay. I don't want too much of that with the S word. I see you turning red, Dr. Lima. Dr. Lima, again, I'm so grateful to Dr. Lima and all of you for coming, but Dr. Lima has agreed to do the forward for me for Shorts, which will be ready again for March 2025. So by the name of the short stories that I have, I'm doing a small piece of before I start signing books for you. One of them is called The Guiding Light, and the other one is called the innocent racism of Thanksgiving.